This story is about my three childhood friends, Tater Tot, Cheese, James, and I. We were all sleeping over one night, playing video games as usual, though this time was going to be a bit different. Cheese's grandpa gave us some motors that were softball sized left over from his 4th of July party, and he wanted us to play with them. Cheese took the liberty to modify them a bit by removing the launching gunpowder, so instead of launching them, we could just throw them into the field. After my friend's mom went to sleep, we snuck out of the apartment as quickly and quietly as we could, heading towards the park's baseball field. We took turns throwing the lit motors into the field, watching them create giant domes of magic that were only meant to be in the sky, and the explosions were so loud, they shook the entire area, setting off car alarms as well as some neighborhood dogs. I'm pretty sure we woke up the whole entire neighborhood because not long after we started, we saw flashing red and blue lights at the top of the hill heading towards our direction. We fled the scene as quickly as our 13-year-old legs could allow us and slipped back into the room, waiting for the cops to leave the area. Once they left, we ran back out to finish the last few motors that we had, and then went back to the room right before the cops showed up again. We were about to set up our game when Cheese stopped us and said, "Guys, we gotta blow up one last thing tonight." Then he holds up a little brown glass bottle with a half-inch fuse sticking out, filled with some kind of powder. This bottle holds all the launching powder I extracted from the motors, and I really want to set it off tonight. And just like any other dumb 13-year-old, we thought it was a great idea. I honestly don't remember how we decided who would light it, but the brave soldier had to be James. We slipped back out of the window, keeping an eye out for the cops, which there was no sign of, then thought we would have a better chance of escaping if we detonated the bottle near the garages, since the window was just around the corner. Tater Tot, Cheese, and I stood a safe 10 yards away from the homemade bomb, watching in anticipation. I remember it being dead silent. The only noise I could hear was the wheel on the lighter spinning. Then suddenly we hear a fuse hissing loudly. I've never seen James move out of the crouch into a sprint so quickly. It was as if his life depended on it. We stood there, watching the glass bottle as the fuse starts to enter, and nothing happened. We waited about 2 minutes, then went over to check it out. Cheese held up the bottle for all of us to inspect when it suddenly blew up. Nah, just kidding. Turns out that the cork was on too tight, so it ended up suffocating the fuse. But Cheese, he was determined to watch his creation explode, and so were we. Somehow we were able to convince James to light it again, though I don't remember how, and it doesn't really matter, I guess. While James got ready to light the fuse once more, we all ran back to our safe spot. Again, dead silent. The only noise present in the air was the wheel scraping against the flint. All I remember was hearing a quick hiss, followed by a loud gunshot. There was this big, bright flash, too, that shot out of the bottle straight into James's face before he was even able to react to the fuse being lit. It happened so fast. Just boom! James was still in the animation of moving out of the way, but it was already too late, obviously. And he was able to manage to stand up, turn around, and, well, collapse. Just like any other good friend, we began to laugh, until we noticed he wasn't getting up. We called out to him a few times, and he replied with a grunt and some movement, so yeah, cool, he's not dead. While we were helping him up, we asked him a few questions like, "Are you okay? Can you stand up on your own? Did it hit you in the face?" It was pretty dark out, so we couldn't see the damage. Though we knew it was bad because James kept saying he couldn't really hear us, as well as his breathing sounded pretty winded, and he had a hard time standing on his own. Man, my bottle didn't even explode. We helped James up and guided him to the window since he was having a hard time walking on his own. After pushing him into the window, we flipped the lights on and, let me just tell you, it was not pretty. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't horrible either. It was just bad. The flash did a pretty decent number to James's face. Before, James's face was free of blemishes, though now it looked like he had a really bad acne breakout. And all that acne was actually welts left from the flash. We were gonna put ice on it, but we didn't have any for some reason. So we ended up using a wet towel to dab his face. It didn't really help much, other than cool him down a bit, so he decided to call it a night and head to bed, while the rest of us stayed up to play video games. The next morning, surprisingly, James's face was just fine, as if nothing ever happened. So yeah, that's the time when my childhood friends and I played with explosions. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and there's no moral to the story. Other than if you gotta get something dangerous done, peer pressure your friends into doing it instead. Just kidding. The moral of the story is don't fall for peer pressure.